She is the UFC's women's bantamweight champion. Ronda Rousey is hanging with us. Ronda, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We just saw that montage. I like the mix because it shows you as a beauty, also as a badass. How do you balance the two?
Well, I do each when it's appropriate. Like, I just finished my hardest sparring session of all camp, and my hair was falling out. It was all over the place. It wasn't anything about how I looked at all. And even this morning, like, I'm in the middle of camp right now, and so that's the thing that's important. I jumped in my car, and I was like, oh my God, it's media day. Whatever. Like, I'm coming in my Macho Man shirt anyway because, you know what, it's about training today, and I'd rather, do media day in a cut-off Macho Man shirt and be on time to practice than, have to run inside and rush sparring because I needed to look good. And, it's just finding the appropriate times for things. I was like, whatever. I prettied up yesterday. That was enough. Today, it's casual wear.
You are all over the place. I mean, you're becoming a household name. How do you like this run of popularity that you have right now?
Well, it's a very useful tool to have, and I appreciate it, and I admit to using it as much as possible. I'm fighting on August 1st, and I got a fight to sell, and so the more people that are aware, the better, and the less I have to worry about making enough money to feed my dog.
All right, well, like you mentioned, August 1st in Brazil, you're fighting in UFC 190, and you're facing Bethe Correia. Let me show you what you recently said on Kimmel. Obviously, you know what it is because you said it. If I make the fight fast, that means I like you. That's me at my most merciful. With this next chick that I don't like, it's not going to be like that. She's going to look different walking out than she did walking in. So we can assume this fight's going to last a little bit longer than 14 seconds because you want to make her suffer?
Yeah, well, the thing is, this chick fast-tracked her way to the title, really disrespecting the people I care about and even my family. And the last thing I want is other chicks looking at her and taking an example from her and trying the same thing. My family doesn't deserve that from what I do for a living. And so I have to make such a strong example out of this chick that every other girl on her way up that's watching her looks at it and goes, geez, wow. I'm not going to try that.
How do you keep, I know sometimes you don't want to make it personal, but at the same time, you're a professional inside that octagon, and you have to stick to a game plan sometimes. How do you avoid that line of making it too personal when you need to go in there and just win the fight?
It doesn't matter if it's personal or not, because when I'm in there fighting, I'm entirely emotionless. It's all observations and decisions. I don't even have like any memory while I'm in there, really. Because so much of my brain is being used, seeing everything at once, deciding things and prioritizing my actions. And so that's what I love about fighting is you're only in the present moment and all of your emotions are on pause. And it's really kind of my escape from my life outside of it.
There are some people out there that say, well, you don't have good opponents. I don't agree with that. I think your opponents are good. It's just that you're that much better. You're that much more dominant. Can that get boring at times? Are you looking forward to a fight where somebody actually gives you a challenge?
I mean, this chick is undefeated, and so is the last chick. I think I've fought like
well, Zagano lasted 14 seconds
already
though.
In my career. Well, the thing is, I rise to the level of the person that I'm fighting, and so if I'm fighting someone that's like not as good, I won't be as good. If I'm in a higher pressure situation against someone that's great, then I'm going to be greater than I've ever been. And my mom says all the time, no one's easy until after you beat them. And the chick that I'm fighting next, she's a really tough chick, and she's beaten every single girl that she's come across before me. And taking O's away from chicks is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, Dana White, the president of UFC, has joked that maybe you should fight men. And maybe, I got to bring this up because Floyd Mayweather, maybe you guys should just go at it because you beat him for Best Fighter Award last night at the ESPYs. And on the red carpet, you were quoted as saying, I saw it, it said, I wonder how Floyd feels being beat by a woman for once. All right. I hate to assume because some things can be taken out of context. So was that a jab at what many think you're talking about?
Well, last year at the ESPYs, somebody asked Floyd, like, what do you think would happen if you and Ronda Rousey fought? And he said, Ronda Rousey? I don't know who he is. And then someone explained who I am. It was like, I ain't know who that is. And it was a really subtle and snarky jab at me. And I was sitting on the couch. I was nominated for Best Fighter with him that year. So I know that he knows who I am. And he actually has MMA fighters signed to him. So I know he knows who I am. And so I was kind of sitting there on the couch one day post-surgery, my leg, my thumb and my knee just got operated on. I was like, all right, okay. You know what? I'm patient. I'm patient. I'm going to get you at the right time. And you're going to think, maybe I shouldn't have said that about that chick. And so I waited a whole year. And you know what? If I didn't win Best Fighter this year, I would have waited another year. I would have waited 2 years just to find the right time to remind him that he shouldn't try to mess with me. And yeah, I'd be interested to hear what to hear him pretend that he doesn't know who I am now.
How do you think he's going to respond? How would you describe, if you could describe your relationship, how would you describe how you feel about Floyd overall?
Overall, I think he's one of the greatest boxers of all time. I mean, I thought Edwin Valero is one of the boxers that I admire so much as a fighter, but I mean, he killed his wife and kid, There's people that you admire as athletes, and outside of it, it's not so much. And so he's one of those people that I really admire and learn from very much as an athlete, but outside of that, I mean, I know that there's always a possibility for people to redeem themselves, and I would really like to see that kind of effort from him, but I haven't seen it yet.
Is that why you and Mike Tyson have a good relationship? And Mike Tyson has had his demons in the past, and Mike Tyson actually came to your sparring session. He's a good friend of yours.
Yeah, Mike is a great example, I think, where he's put in so much effort over so many years to better himself as a man that I really have seen him. He's owned up to things he's done. He's denied the things that he hasn't done. He's paid his debt to society. He lost everything for it, and put so much work into so many years into really bettering himself as a man. And I admire that kind of effort and humility out of Mike just as much as I admire his fighting. And he really gained my respect as a man, as seeing how he's handled himself over the years. And I really hope that Floyd Mayweather grows up to be like Mike Tyson.